We talk a lot about race relations in this country and the relationship between law enforcement and police. It's why we see Black Lives Matter protests throughout the country. George Floyd certainly lit a fire under a lot of people. And I hoped that we wouldn't have a situation like that again. It appears that we might, and there's still new evidence coming out in regards to the officer-involved shooting that took place in Kenosha, Wisconsin, Jacob Blake. There's video. It's been all over the national news the last couple days. And shot 7 times in the back. There's a lot of questions. We don't have a lot of answers right now, but it certainly looks bad. The person who videoed it, we're not looking at a body camera. Why the body cameras were not on, I have no idea. But thank God for a man by the name of Rayshawn White, who decided to take his cell phone out and video what took place that day that put Jacob Blake in serious condition. And now we're learning from his father that he probably will never be able to walk again. Very sad. Rayshawn White, the man who took that video, joining us right now on the line. Rayshawn, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
How you doing? I'm good.
So, Rayshawn, let me start from square one. What is the first moment where you noticed what was happening out there before you started videoing? What did you see?
I seen a bunch of women arguing at first. And maybe 15 minutes later, Jacob pulled up in his car, and he told his son to get in the car, and Jacob walked in the house. When Jacob walked in his house, I stepped away from my window. I came back to my window, and the police were already there. I came back maybe 5 minutes later. The police were already there, scuffling with Jacob, wrestling with Jacob already. They had him in a headlock. The officer that shot him proceeded to punch him in his ribs when he had Jacob in the headlock. Another officer had him in a headlock on the other side of Jacob and was pulling his arm. The female officer tased him. When she tased Jacob, he kind of fell on the car, and they were still wrestling with him. So they moved towards the back, towards the trunk, towards the other side of the car. And when they got to the other side of the car where I couldn't really see, I decided to record.
Okay, so before we get to the actual recording part, do you have any idea why the scuffle occurred? Because reports that we're hearing is, as you said, there were 2 women that got into a fight, and he was trying to break it up, according to witnesses. Did you see any of that? Does that narrative sound right to you?
Yes, that makes sense because women were arguing. That's what made me go to the window at first. But I didn't see them arguing. I mean, I didn't see them fighting. I didn't see Jacob trying to break up the fight.
Gotcha.
But I heard women arguing.
Gotcha. Okay. So and we don't know if he knew those women or not. I'm sure that evidence will come out later. Okay, so let's go with that for a moment. Why do you think that he was scuffling with police? Something doesn't make sense to me because if he's just trying to break up a fight, why would police, get into a scuffle with him? And that's the part that I don't understand. Do you have any idea why and how that happened?
I have no idea. I stepped away from my window.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you decided to pick up your cell phone because, as you know, Rayshawn, for whatever reason, the body camera footage was not on. So you, as a good Samaritan, as what people did in the George Floyd situation, they decided to video it, and I'm sure that wasn't easy to do. So you put on your cell phone and you start recording this. What happens next?
When I start recording, Jacob walked from the other side of the car towards the driver's side, and he opened his door. And as soon as he opened the door, the police shot him in the back 7 times.
Did you see, I hear rumors on social media, and I don't like talking about rumors. Police have not really put out any information that this man, Jacob Blake, had any sort of weapon, but there are rumors out there that he had a knife, and there's at least one witness that said they heard police say, drop the knife. Did you see, you're not that far from this, did you see anything that would have told you that he had a weapon on him or was getting a weapon? What are your thoughts on that from what you saw?
I didn't. I also heard the police say, drop the knife, but I didn't see a knife in Jacob's hand at all.
So you're saying, got you. So you're saying you clearly heard police say, drop the knife.
Yes, I clearly heard that.
Okay. Does that mean 100% that he had a knife? No, but that certainly is important because it goes to show you that most likely the police officers, or at least one of the officers, thought he had a knife in his hand and he wasn't complying. So that's certainly an important part of it. But now let's go to the part that is really troubling to me. And that is the fact that this man, Jacob Blake, knife in his hand or not, he was walking away from the police. He was not walking towards the police. And he was shot in the back 7 times. And I hear your voice in that video. You're recording it, and you seem, and rightfully so, extremely shocked. What is going through your mind as you're videoing it with your cell phone and you see this man shot in the back 7 times?
I was very angry. I was upset. I had so many mixed emotions. If you can watch the video and you pay attention, the officer shot him 3 times and hesitated real quick before he shot him 4 more times. I caught that, and that was really bothering to me because I didn't feel like he had to shoot him that many times. That
I mean, you're there, right? You're watching this with your own eyes. People forget that's a traumatizing thing to watch. I don't even know. We still don't know exactly why that happened, what transpired before. We don't have all the details, but I can't imagine how difficult it is for somebody like you, because I'm just putting myself in your position. You want to record it. You know what's been going on lately with Black Lives Matter and all the protests. You did the right thing. But I got to imagine, I mean, what do you say to your family and your friends? I mean, it's got to be traumatizing for you to see a man be, shot 7 times in the back like that. I've never seen anything like that in person.
Me neither, especially about the police. What if I tried to go outside and break up the fight? That could have been me who got shot 7 times.
What would you say to people, because you watched this whole thing? You're a witness. Right? Let me start with this. Were you interviewed by anybody? I'm not talking about media. Were you interviewed by police?
Yes.
So when they interviewed you, what were the types of questions they asked you? Did they ask you, did you see a weapon or anything like that? I mean, what are the types of questions that the investigators were asking you?
They asked me, did I see a weapon? What happened before I started recording? That's the big question. Everyone's asking me what happened before I started recording.
Right.
And I'm telling everybody the same story. Jacob pulled up in his car. He told his son to get in the car. These women are still arguing when Jacob pulled up. He didn't say anything to the women. He didn't tell them to stop arguing, nothing. He just told his son to get in the car, and he walked inside his apartment. When I stepped away from the window, I have no idea what happened.
Right.
Rayshawn, another rumor that's circulating throughout the internet, especially on Twitter, is that during that scuffle, Jacob told police officers he was going to get his gun from his car and shoot them. Did you hear anything like that?
Well, no, I didn't hear Jacob say a word through the whole altercation. Jacob didn't say a word.
Okay.
I didn't hear him say anything.
Yeah, and I haven't seen that either. I haven't seen anybody, any witnesses. I do know that what you just said, Rayshawn, is what one other witness said about the knife. Police did say put the knife down, but they did. Okay, so the police officers ask you questions. Do you know how many other witnesses that were around that area? I know you weren't the only one. How many other people you think saw this?
It was me and all the women that were outside. It was probably like 7 in total, maybe 7 women and maybe like 3 children outside in total.
All right, so
they're seeing everything. Got
you. Okay, so you live there, right? You live in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Can you talk to us a little bit about that city and what now your city is facing with I know that there are peaceful protesters, but I also know that there are people not from that city that we've learned a bunch of people that are causing havoc, that are rioters, that are lighting things on fire. That are, as somebody like you, Rayshawn, that lives in that city, that calls it your home. I mean, it's almost like your city is turning into a battleground now. I mean, what do you make of what's going on in your city?
It's terrible what's going on here. I'm actually from Chicago, but me living in Kenosha, it's a love-hate situation, kind of like Chicago. There's rioting, fighting. It's bad out here.
So I've talked to some people that are from Ferguson. I've talked to people in other parts of the country where there have been officer-involved shootings. And sometimes they tell me the relationship between law enforcement and minorities not good. Some say it's not horrible. Have you had any interactions or any incidents with police that you'd like to share with us? How do the police officers as a whole there, based on your experiences, treat people there in Kenosha, Wisconsin?
I had a couple incidents with the police. It's kind of like they're prejudiced. I don't want to bash the Kenosha police, but it's kind of like they're prejudiced. They give privilege to, the Caucasian population here, and it's like a love-hate thing.
Right. If you're just joining us, we're speaking with Rayshawn White. He is the man who shot the video that has had millions of views, sadly, the Jacob Blake shooting in Kenosha, Wisconsin. We don't have all the evidence put forward. This man, Rayshawn White, says he did not see Jacob Blake with a weapon in his hand. He did see a scuffle. He got his cell phone out. He started videoing it. So, Rayshawn, let me ask you this. And again, I know you don't have all the evidence, but you were there. You were a witness. Can you just tell me, based on your opinion now we're going by opinion, not what you know is complete fact. In your opinion, what do you think Jacob Blake was doing there? What do you think happened? Why do you think he wasn't complying? And ultimately, why do you think this cop shot him in the back 7 times? What do you think happened?
I think Jacob, if his young son was there and these women are arguing, I'm assuming somebody called Jacob to come get his kid, which he did. He pulled up. He was getting his kid. He told his kid to get in the truck. He didn't say anything with the women, so that plays a part in it because he didn't engage in the situation.
Right.
I don't understand why the officer shot him that many times. I understand. I seen the officer tase him. I seen the officer punch him in the back. So they use other methods, but I don't think the next step is to shoot him in the back 7 times.
No,
Maybe
it's
they
not.
could have shot him in the leg.
Right.
A leg
Right.
shot could have made him fall. And once again, if you watch the video, he shot him 3 times, and I caught it. I don't know if anybody else caught it, but he kind of hesitated real quick, and he shot him 4 more times. That was very disturbing to me.
Yes, it's just disturbing for everybody. Yeah, no doubt. Well, let me say this, Rayshawn. You're a good Samaritan, and you did the right thing, because if you don't video this and other people like you don't video these things, then sometimes police cannot be held accountable. I don't know if police acted inappropriately or not. Certainly it looks really bad based on your video, but if there were not people like you out there with cell phones that think quickly, I don't know if I would have done what you did. I would have watched it and I would have been kind of like struck there, and I don't know how I would have froze. So I'm glad that you did what you did, Rayshawn. I'm glad you're telling the story. Police, everybody needs to be held accountable here. We need the full story, but certainly the video is a good start. Rayshawn, thank you so much for joining us and telling your story and doing what you did. We appreciate it, and I know that I'm sure the Jacob Blake family appreciates it as well. So, Rayshawn, thank you for coming on and talking to us. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yo, thanks
All right.
a lot, Rayshawn.